And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Belmore. It is Wednesday, September 6th. Sorry for the delay, but the man of the hour, the man of the day, getting phone calls from left, right, up, down, everywhere possible, is Mr. Gabe Amo, who is your Democratic candidate for Rhode Island's 1st Congressional District. First of all, congrats, Gabe.
Thank you so much, Ryan, and thank you for being a space where I got to come on and talk about our campaign and what we hope to do for people in Rhode Island. We've made it through the primary, now on to the general.
All right, I see ice cream above your shoulder. Where are you this afternoon?
I am in Green Line Apothecary on North Main Street in Providence, and it's a place that I frequent because it's got great backdrops and also great people in service.
Your phone has been ringing. I should mention first, you won yesterday, 32.5% of the vote. As of unofficial results were coming in at 9:26 this morning with 94 of 94 polling places. Above the other 11 candidates that were on the ballot. You brought in 12,400 total votes, 32.5% of the total vote. Won every single Newport County city and town. How you feeling?
I am so energized. Though I haven't slept probably more than a cumulative 8 hours in the last 2 days, I'm energized because I saw both in the vote turnout and in the conversations I had last night and the conversations that I've had this morning, the people are excited at the possibility of selecting a new congressperson who can hit the ground running and be effective from day one. And I'm hopeful that those credentials that are presented for the primary will apply to what we'll talk about in the general. And ultimately, it's about getting to work for people. So I'm always excited about being in action, and I hope to be that right after our November general election.
Yes, take note, everybody. It's not over. November 7th will be the general election. On the Republican side will be Gerry Leonard Jr., who defeated Middletown's Terri Flynn 75-24. It was widely reported last night that you had to step away from reporters, take a phone call from the president. I'm sure you've had lots of your former boss. I'm sure you've had lots of phone calls, but is there really anything better than your parents' reaction?
No, nothing better. Nothing better. And in fact, I didn't know how they would respond to this. This is overwhelming for me, let alone for them, because they're not political people. They're people who are hardworking. My mom's a nurse in nursing homes. My dad owns a liquor store in Providence. And so while they are, engaged like most people are in consuming news media, it is a different thing. And when you think about their path in the 80s, meeting here in Rhode Island after coming from 2 different West African countries and now have their son as the Democratic nominee for Congress, I think that's an overwhelming thing. And so I take a great responsibility for the obligation the people have entrusted me with. But I know that they are part of that journey too. And it's so great to have them be part of every moment of it.
Gabe, your campaign manager, Lauren, tweeted earlier this morning, a woman-led and black-led and queer-led team won the Rhode Island first primary. Gabe Amo, the first ever Black Democratic nominee. We were the most diverse campaign in this race. The win feels good, but how we won feels better. How did you win?
We went everywhere. We're proximate. We're proximate to people. Folks throughout Newport County saw lots of me. And they saw me at events. They saw me on doorsteps, and certainly they saw me really just try to both communicate the values that I have growing up in Pawtucket and how that applies to most people in the state. People just want government to work, and so those conversations were meaningful in every city and town. I didn't treat one town more important than another. All 19 cities and towns of the 1st Congressional District were important to me, and I visited every single one, whether it was being in Wright's Farm in North Smithfield to spending time at Ragged Island in Portsmouth. I was everywhere in between, and that matters. That's what people want out of a congressperson, and that's what I hope to offer if I'm successful in November.
Gabe, was the message the same in all 19 cities and towns when you went door to door and were meeting residents of every community, which I'm sure you did? Is the message the same in what the voters want, the same in every community? Is there any variation?
I would say slight variation. And the variation, certainly our coastal communities responded in a specific way to the issues of climate change. Though the issues of climate change are present in Providence when you think about our urban canopy and extreme heat. But the policy solutions might be different, but the same set of issues, whether it's reproductive freedom, preventing gun violence, protecting our seniors, those are universals. Having an economy that works for everybody, getting into the supply chains of the future, that matters everywhere. So certainly, I definitely emphasized in the last weeks the importance of protecting our defense industry jobs, which I know are so meaningful to so many on Aquidneck Island. But 60% of the people who work in the defense industry live in the 1st Congressional District. That's a statistic that I received from Synedia. So I believe that all of those issues combined mattered for people across the district.
I'm sure you've heard it, and if not, one of the things I heard from a lot of people over the last several months since we talked and since interviewing all of the different candidates was your positivity. People want to believe and support and follow somebody that sees the glass half full or sees the brighter days ahead instead of, getting stuck on the dark that's in our communities. How much do you think positive attitude, and where does that positive attitude come from?
Well, I'll tell you, very often I'm walking through a community event, walking through the supermarket, people stop me and said, "Oh, you're that guy with a smile from the commercials who worked for President Biden. You want to get to work for us." I think you have to bring that to it. Not everything is going to be a happy situation. I completely get that. People, especially those who haven't benefited from our economic bounce back after COVID, those people, it's a serious issue that they're dealing with. And I don't take that lightly, but I do have an unabiding optimism for the future. And if we have our leaders be oriented towards making things work and arriving at solutions for people like I have in my service in government, then ultimately that is something that I'm going to be positive about. That is something that I want people to feel excited about, because that's what they deserve.
I was laughing this morning when your campaign and you agreed to sit down with me, because I was thinking about, you kind of have this yo-yo effect going between Rhode Island and DC, where every time you think you're getting out, granted you signed up to run for this seat, but here you come possibly moving or not moving, and I want to talk about that for a second, but possibly spending some more time in DC. You've spent a lot of time in DC. This will be in a different role. Many people may not realize it, but can you talk a little bit about maybe what you hope your plan is between your time in DC, your time in Rhode Island? I think sometimes people think you moved down to DC, but majority of the time you're still a resident of Rhode Island. You're still voting in Rhode Island. If you could just break it down a little bit of how you see it or how you expect it to work for you.
I only want to spend the minutes in Washington, D.C. that are beneficial to me serving Rhode Islanders, right? So, you have a legislative calendar, all right? That's often between Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's why you'll see a lot of our members do their events in district on Mondays and Fridays, and then barnstorm for events on the weekend. I would do that. And every minute I spend in DC, if it is not additive to the work, having a meeting with the Rhode Island industry sector, talking with my colleagues in the Congress about some policy solution, attending an informed event about something I can bring back home. Those are the things I would hang around a few hours in DC for. But for the most part, I intend to spend a bulk of my time in district in Rhode Island, and making sure that I'm going to all 19 cities and towns with great frequency, building up my connection through the social sector organizations, through local government leaders, through our small businesses, and the robust variety that we have in our state. That's going to require presence, and that's presence I will offer. It's
a nice 45-minute flight, so it's not that difficult.
It's easy. American and Southwest.
Yes, I'm on the Southwest train, and sorry for making it a 101, but I think sometimes people think, I see the worst of social media comments, and I think sometimes people think, oh, they're moving down there full time, we're never going to see them again, and just want to point out kind of how it works and why sometimes you see our congressional delegation. Speaking of congressional delegation, this morning the governor, Rhode Island's entire congressional delegation, everybody unified behind you. How'd that feel this morning?
It feels great. These are people that I respect, that I've worked for and with in the past, and we were going to have to unify all of the Democrats in this state, all of the Democrats in this district, to keep this seat blue. It is important, both for making sure that we keep this government running, even though Democrats are in the majority, but it's important for when after the midterm elections, hopefully, if I'm successful in November, and hopefully I'm successful again next year, that we are able to vote for Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. And so I am so enthused by that support, and I want to unify not only the folks who are in office, but Democrats who are serving in so many capacities, our city and town committees, folks in the General Assembly, and certainly all of my fellow candidates who ran as Democrats. I would hope that we all get together because they all got into this race and for great reasons, and that's to help Rhode Island, and we are unified in that message to support Rhode Islanders across the district.
So you heard it here first, folks. If Gabe wins in November, he's going to seek re-election next year. So
look at you, you're making news, Ryan.
Yes. Gabe, have you had a chance to talk with David Cicilline since?
I have. I spoke with him this morning.
And any wise words for you?
He again is at the Rhode Island Foundation and is not directly political, but speaking from his experience, he offered advice for me and offered to be a source of advice for just how serving in Congress looks, and I think that's important, that connectivity from one congressperson to the next.
City 1 is said to be a very safe Democrat congressional area, but you do have an opponent coming up here in November, a Republican. What's the path to victory? What separates you apart? And I'm sure we're going to hear about this more between now and November. But what's the biggest thing? What should people know about the candidates that are left?
Yeah, I am learning more about my Republican opponent, but I will focus on the same things I focus on throughout the primary, right? That's protecting Social Security and Medicare. That's combating gun violence. That is making sure that we are making strategic investments from the Inflation Reduction Act to ward off the impacts of climate change and to prepare for the future and lower our energy consumption and make sure that we preserve reproductive rights in the state, and more broadly, invest in our economy, make sure that we are prepared for the supply chains of the future from all of those pieces of legislation, and also the CHIPS and Science Act. So those are real things that I'll be focused on. And I think it is important, especially with the obstruction in DC from congressional Republicans, things like having a conversation, prolonged conversation over the debt limit, being held hostage there. Thankfully, there were a great set of negotiations by the president to ensure that we could not experience catastrophic default, but we also have a potential issue like that on funding the government for the next fiscal year from October 1 forward. That is also something that the Republicans are turning into brinksmanship, risking, for example, our funding for investments against fentanyl abuse and trafficking in this country. That's something that congressional Republicans are against. They're against. And so I will draw those distinctions more and more clearly over in the next several weeks. But I think it's clear I'm on a path and a vision to invest in America, to invest in our people and our places. And that is what Rhode Islanders deserve in a congressperson.
Okay, but I think oftentimes during the last several months, people point to the MAGA Republicans or the extreme Republicans. But I want to see if you agree with me here. But a lot of what you're saying is would be at jeopardy if any Republican gets in there, even if they're moderate or extreme. But the difference between you and any Republican, whether they're MAGA or as far left as they could possibly go. That is a big difference.
Well, if you were voting for Kevin McCarthy in that congressional majority, then that means you are subscribing to those beliefs. And so, unfortunately, that is a real choice for Rhode Island voters. And Rhode Islanders should know that they have a clear choice between investing in America or, holding close to the Republican majority in the House that has not really valued investing in our people and our places and has us constantly on the brink of catastrophe.
Does anybody know who you are in that shop there, or they think you're just some gentleman doing work on his computer?
I think some gentleman, but I did walk into a building just now and someone smiled at me and said, "I know you." I don't know where from, but and hopefully as I do my work, I will have very easy conversations with people in passing about not only this campaign, but their goals and their priorities for the future.
We do the deep diving investigative questions here. So I've got to ask you, why Mr. Lemon over Dells?
I've loved, the community aspect of Mr. Lemon's. Look, I have nothing against Dells, but he asked for a choice. And in politics and in life and in frozen lemonade, there are choices. And I decided to go with.
And if people didn't catch that, that was the Channel 12 debate that was held last week or the week before. Gabe was the only one who went on the outside and said not Dells. What does celebration look like, Gabe? Is campaign start for November now, or are you going to take a minute and celebrate with friends, family campaign?
So I'm going to take a little bit of time, but we have to get back to work. And so my whole staff, they're taking a few days off and well-deserved, well-earned. And what I'm going to do is spend some time just thinking about the future, thinking about the future for this campaign, but also this district. And that might include an earlier bedtime. That might include a heavier meal or two. But in a day or two, we'll get back to work. Up in Providence this weekend is PVD Fest. And so I hope to be supporting those events and meeting lots of people along the way, because that's what people want. People want a congressperson who is proximate, present, and prepared to do the work that comes ahead.
I put it on the bottom there, but yourname.com, gabeamo.com for more information if people want to learn and read anything about your past. Or if they want to support, get involved, many different ways there. One of the highlights that I like to see last night, and the photo went around a lot, is the Cano campaign being there with you to celebrate. When they saw that the sign was on the wall, they came over and celebrated. That the unity had to, after several months of not being at each other but competing. Must have been nice to have that happen. Completely.
And Sandra's a friend. I said at a forum just a month ago that one of the highlights of the campaign trail is being able to see a friend like that and get her warmth and energy, because it lifts me up. This stuff is hard, and it's good to have smiling faces around you amidst a really difficult process, but a process that is meaningful and beneficial to everybody across the state.
Excellent. Well, Gabe, we know you are running around and busy. We appreciate you taking the time. Anything that we missed today that you wanted to get out there?
No, I would direct everybody again to gabeamo.com. Please sign up for our list so you can get updates. I want to make sure that people are updated about this campaign. If you want to be part of our journey, and it's a collective journey. It's not just mine. This is people across the district. I hope you stay in touch, and I look forward to seeing you along the campaign trail.
One last quick follow-up. Newport Mayor Sy was one of the very first, if not the first, to come out and endorse you. Have you had a chance to talk to the mayor?
Yes, I have spoken to him. I spoke to him this morning. He is so excited, and he's already putting things on the calendar that we should do together to spend time with folks in Newport. And so I hope to be back very soon in the coming days to make sure we're communicating the message. And I'm grateful to Mayor Sy. It was the first mayoral endorsement in this whole election, and it came from somebody who represented and represents the values that I think people want out of their next congressman as well. Responsiveness, proximity, and a real commitment, and eye on the future. And I'm so grateful for his partnership, but I'm looking forward to all of the other elected officials that I will now look to get on the team as we move forward to November 7th.
Excellent, Gabe. Well, I'm sure we will set something up down the road to talk to you a little bit more about the issues, but we wanted to get your reaction to last night. Congratulations again to you and your team. It certainly takes a team to do this, and we wish you the very best of luck, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you to everybody watching. I can't wait to see you in person if we haven't met yet. See you soon.
All righty. I'll see you soon. Thanks, Gabe. That is Gabe Amo. We want to thank him for joining us today. GabeAmo.com for more information about his campaign. Thanks for watching.